things that we have been talking, and even maybe debating is the right term, is this view about whether or not when are we gonna see the cycle correct? So I think you would agree with this, is that we're clearly in a upswing in the market. There is some momentum in the freight market. You could argue it's capacity driven, but regardless, carriers are gaining pricing power. How long does this cycle go from your perspective?
Well, so I look at it two ways, Craig. There have been sort of 5 big events that have impacted supply. So we know about the ELP, or English language proficiency, the non-domiciled situation. We've had an announcement, no more self-certification around the CDL institutions, and then a move away eventually from self-certification with ELD. So that's 4. And then there's the Montgomery SCOTUS and all the fallout, the recent big C.H. Robinson verdict, et cetera. If all of the regulatory progress stopped with those 5 things, and a lot of things that are being discussed don't come to fruition, then the cycle will be over by the end of next year or Q1 of 28. But if some of these other things are enacted, then that's normal.
You're following the normal cycle. It's interesting. We've had
18,
Ken Adamo.
Expect it to be like 18 months.
We've had Dr. Jason Miller on. We've had one of the great things I love about the show is just how the differing perspectives. And one of the things that I think Ken Adamo would argue, formerly with DAT, is that the government, because of pressure on shippers, is going to loosen. That's his case. It's like there's too much pressure in the market, something has to give. Now, Jason Miller has argued that there is actually, which is interesting because I think his position shifted on this, is there's more demand than people realize, which is an interesting sort of take. But he thinks that the market will correct because the larger fleets will come in over correct capacity.
Well, so there's 2 angles there. Number one is if the government does do more, like, for example, reform what it takes to get a CDL, or they raise the insurance minimum, they raise the freight broker bonding requirement, they do any number of things. Like, I think there's a discussion to have a national clearinghouse for VIN numbers. That's been part of the problem around, theft, fraud, non-compliance, et cetera. And I've got other ideas that we've certainly shared with the government. But if those things happen, then I think the odds of us having more than a 2-year cycle increase dramatically.